guys, welcome to another segment of Cocktails on the Couch. I'm your girl Vanessa J, and today we're going to talk about being neglected as a child. I have a great person with me today, and let me introduce you my guest for today. Her name is Brittany Ivy.
Hey,
hi, Brittany.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here.
Of course.
So I always like to start my show with a cocktail.
Cool.
So we have our cocktails here.
Ooh.
Welcome to another segment of Cocktails on the Couch.
Yay.
Ding, ding. All right.
Ooh.
All right. Yes. So you ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay. So, Brittany, what city were you born?
Oak Park.
Oak Park. Okay. Oak Park, Illinois.
Suburbs.
In the suburbs.
Yep.
Okay. That's the western suburbs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you born to a single family household?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, my grandma raised me and my sister.
Okay.
So pretty much she adopted us. We were in DCFS for a while, but then my great grandma told my grandma to adopt us, so then she took care of us.
Okay. So you do have siblings. How many siblings do you have?
I have two other siblings.
Okay.
I have
Older or younger?
Oldest. I'm the youngest. I have
Okay.
one that's 20 years older than me, and then one that's only a few months older than me.
20 years older.
Yep.
Wow.
20 years and 19 days.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. So you said your grandmother adopted you.
Mm-hmm.
So where were your parents during this time?
So my dad was around growing up, but I don't remember him. I was super young. And then my mom was always in and out of jail. She was a drug addict, and she always, she's wild. She was a wild goose.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So by law, we weren't supposed to see her until we were 18.
Oh.
So yeah, so we did because she would always be in the area, but yeah.
Okay. So what was it like growing up in grammar school for you?
I felt like I lived a normal childhood.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my aunt, which is my grandma's daughter, stayed with us, and she pretty much took care of us, took us to school and stuff. She didn't work, so she was the stay-at-home mom. While my grandma was at work, she provided for us. She paid the bills and stuff. So growing up, I thought I had a normal childhood.
Okay. Were there things in your household that was like you couldn't speak about, like the unspoken, like don't talk about this, whatever happens in the home stays in the home?
Yeah,
was there ever moments like that?
Oh yeah. So I've always been more vocal than my sister and stuff. So when people would ask about my mom, like my mom would pop up every now and then and stuff, and some people would ask, like, oh, what happened to your mom, or where's your mom, blah, blah, blah. And I would say, she doesn't take care of me, she doesn't do anything.
And you just tell people that?
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I don't care.
Right, okay.
But I mean, growing up, it's like now I realize maybe I shouldn't have said anything or limited what I said. But yeah, I mean, my grandma and aunt always say, be careful what you say, and everybody don't need to know our business, and this,
That's
that,
how
whatever.
normally
And it's
households
like,
are.
okay.
And your father, so was he ever in the picture at all?
So he
Ever
was.
present?
I mean, I have pictures, like plenty of pictures with him. I just don't remember him. I know my sister always tells me like he was a good person. So he was around for a while. He was married when he was with my mom, and he had two other kids that I know of.
Okay. So you have other siblings?
Yeah, I don't know him though.
You don't know him?
Nah.
Okay. So did you ever have a close relationship with another relative who you feel you can pretty much confide in?
So I was very close to my grandma. I was
Okay.
super duper close to my grandma. It was always my grandma and I and stuff. So I always went to her about anything and everything. I was always following behind her. She worked a lot. She was a CNA, so she pretty much lived at other people's houses doing work and stuff. But she would come home like every other day to get new stuff and clothes and bring groceries home and, make sure we're okay, pay bills and stuff. But the jobs that she got that she was still, living at home and then go over there, we were still always very close. And the older I got, the closer I got to her because I was able to do more things and express myself and talk to her more and stuff. So
So she was your confidant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So when did you first initially feel you was being neglected? And who were you being neglected by? Because you said grandmother was always there, auntie was there, mom in and out the home, dad pretty much not there. So who was, explain that. Walk us through that part.
Yeah, so pretty much growing up, my grandma and my aunt always made it known of all the bad things that my mom did, not only to us, but to, them as well growing up and stuff. And her being a drug addict and stuff, people aren't, she was a thief and stuff like that. So they always made it known that your mom was not a bad person or is a bad person.
Okay.
So definitely felt neglected from my mom, simply because she would come around, but she would never do anything for us.
Okay.
And it's just like, okay, we call you my mom, but You're not.
Really?
Yeah, are you really? And that's an issue that we have now. So my oldest sister, my mom actually took care of her and raised her. But my mom didn't raise my other sister, Deanna, and I. So now that we're grown, it's like my sister and I are like, we still call you my mom, but are you really my mom? So this is actually, my mom was she was incarcerated for, I want to say 5.5 years.
And how old were you then?
I want to say like 15.
So from 15 to 20, she was incarcerated.
Yep.
Okay, and during the prime years.
It might have been like 14 to 19 or something.
Yeah, but it's still prime years when you need your mom. You're in high school.
Teenager, growing up
exactly.
and stuff. Yeah,
right.
So she was in jail then. And then when she got out, and now she's been out for a couple of years now. And it's like, this is the first year that I actually told my mom I loved her. Wow. And it's kind of forced. At first, it was kind of forced a little bit. And still sometimes I think like, oh, it's kind of forced. But it's just like, do I love you? Like, who are you? You know, like, you've never done any. Growing up, she never did anything for us. She was a prostitute as well. So if she did get a little money or something, it was to buy her beer, cigarettes, drugs, to support her. And maybe she'll buy us like some food and snacks. So growing up, my grandma will work certain jobs, and then my aunt started working part-time a little bit too. So my grandma, even though by law we weren't supposed to see my mom, we would go over there so she can watch us.
And so that was like between, birth and 14?
Yeah.
So you was able to sneak over to see your mom sometimes. So what was that relationship like? Did you stay for a couple of hours, like 20 minutes?
It would be like a weekend, like
on the weekend.
Yeah, it might be. I don't really remember. I think it was like a Friday night to Sunday morning type thing. Yeah.
So did you all like bond? Was she still going out?
She was still going out. Yeah, she was still going out. I'll always remember like early mornings, like she would always nod. And I never knew what it was until like I started getting older.
Yeah.
And she was a cigarette smoker, so she would be like nodding, and then everything had holes in it. Like all her comforters and covers and stuff had holes in it because she would be nodding and drop the cigarette. Yeah. So, and it's funny because to this day, like now since I'm trying to get a bond with her and stuff, I always joke with her like, oh, you got cigarette holes in your stuff now, and just like joking because it's like I'm old enough that we realize things and we can get past it. And sometimes you have to make a joke to help you get past it. But growing up, I never like really knew she was doing drugs because I was young,
Right.
So
did family members mention it at all?
Yeah, they would, but and it's funny because my sister Deanna was closer to my oldest sister, and they played favoritism a lot, I felt. And I was closer to my aunt and my grandma, so they would. I tend to do a lot of stuff and have the mentality that they had that, oh, she's a bad person, she's a bad person, she's a bad person, and a lot of my ways were ways of my grandma and my aunt. So I always thought like, okay, I know it, but how do I know what it looks like? I was so young.
Okay. So thinking about high school. So growing up in high school, were you the type of person that needed validation from different men? Because sometimes it can be, generational or something, whereas your mom out there in the streets. Not saying you out there in the streets either, but did you feel that since daddy wasn't around, mom not around, you got that support with your support from your mom, your grandmother, your auntie, but did you feel like you need validation from others to feel whole?
No, because my grandma played a role that she was like my father and my mother, and she was everything all in one. They told us right from wrong. They always let us know that we have that open door to go to them and stuff. Growing, high school was awesome for me. Like they weren't strict. I got to do any and everything that I want. Growing up, I had a lot of guy friends, and it's like every person that I knew, they knew. So it's like they knew, So, and it's funny because my godfather, which is, I don't know how this worked, but my mom used to date him. That's how he became my godfather. I was working one day, and I had to be like 15, 16, and he saw me, I think, walking or something. And I was walking with a guy friend of mine. He was older, and he came to my job, and he was like checking out. And I was working in a grocery store, and he's like, "You're going to be just like your mom when you grow up."
Really?
Yeah. And I was
Had you had a relationship with him at all?
We were close. Like growing up, whenever we go to my mom's house, they were dating. So they lived together and stuff. So we would always play around. Like we'll always watch movies and stuff. He would take care of it. He had a really good job. So he was the one that was providing for us as well. So I was like, what?
Like, threw you back? Like, what
and I was like, and it was funny because one of the managers who I'm really good friends with, he knew what was going on and stuff. And when he heard it, he was right next to me. And he was like, whoa, like, where did that come from? And I was like, I have no idea. And to this day, I do not speak to him. at all.
So you never had a chance to ask her, where are you getting this from?
But I know my aunt has talked to him and like kind of went off on him about it. Like, that's so rude. Like, you don't tell somebody that.
Right.
Because I'm far from her.
Right. Did you ever find yourself doing things to please others?
Well, I have a very open, big heart. So a lot of, I don't put myself first. I'm that type of person. I don't put myself first. And fortunately now I'm learning to do it a little bit more. But I tell people it's not really me doing things to please them. It's because I know you like it, depending on like what it is. Nothing like bad, but you know, if I know you like something, I'm gonna do it because I know you like something, and I like making people happy. Okay. So that's always been my thing, and so people have told me, and my aunt has always told me, I'm too nice. I'm too nice. I'm too nice, and I do get walked over. I do, but I'm at the point, and I realize with my life, I have to learn on my own about those type of situations.
So in a kind of hard way.
Yeah.
But you know, you're just being helpful and stuff.
I'm just being helpful. That's all. Like that's all I've ever been, was helpful, caring. You know, I've always been there. I put everybody else before myself.
And you would think it'd be the opposite by you saying you've been abused, not abused, but being neglected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By your mother, you know, and then your father not being in the picture. You would think you'd be the opposite. You'd be mean. And, you know, and not want to trust anyone. So are you very trusty of people?
You know what? I am. And that's one thing that I wish I wasn't. Because I give everybody my full trust first for them to break it. So that's one thing that I've tried to learn to do. Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket and trust people right when you meet them and this, that, whatever. But, you know, like growing up, like my grandma was everything. That's who technically by law, she was my mother. Yes. So, you know, that's all I needed. And the thing that throws me off now to this day is, who is this person that I call my mom? Right. Like, she feels like a friend. She feels like a close family relative, you know? Still to this day, you're at home. And when she came home, she stayed with my sister, and my sister was in a domestic relationship, and I ended up getting her apartment. I got her a job, and she was a felon. So, you know, it's hard to get a job right out of jail. I got her a job 3 weeks, and to this day, she says, you know, you don't do anything for me. You're never there, and this and that. And it's just like, how can you be there for someone who's not there for you? Right. Not once has she said, hey, do you need something? You know, is there anything that I can do to help? And I don't like that, because you say you come home, you're trying to rebuild a bond and stuff like that, but you don't. You know, and like since she's been home, I've had situations where, and she did get back into drugs. She was put on house arrest recently. She just got off like a few months ago. And I knew, I could read people very well. And I know my mom, you know, I know what drugs look like. I know what drug addicts look like. And my Deanna and I always told my oldest sister, you know, mom's back to doing drugs. She's back to doing drugs. But
is she in denial?
Very in denial.
The oldest is in denial.
And we say, you know, to this day, we say, Ebony always takes up for my mom because my mom raised her. That's her mom. She actually has that mother-daughter bond. You know, we don't have that. So we see things differently, you know? Right. So we will always say, you know, she's back to doing drugs, back to doing drugs, back to doing drugs.
So she's more protective of her because of the fact she had that bond with her and she was living with her at the time.
She always takes up for my mom. And it's just like, she's wrong. Like, stop always taking up for her, you know?
Now, is your grandmother, that's your mother's mom? So does she ever have a sit-down conversation with her? Or she just don't
my grandma passed away 3 years ago, so my mom was still in jail.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, so my grandma passed away, and like a few months, I want to say, about less than a year before my mom came home. So but even my aunt, which is my mom's sister, they don't have that good bond because of the things that my mom has done to them growing up. She's a thief. My aunt's like very overprotective and crazy now, but she's like, I'm not letting her in my house. She's a thief. And that's just, you know, some things like people just can't get out of their habits, you know, and I understand. Yes, you have to give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's just like,
were there resources for her when she first came home?
Yeah, so I mean, she was put on probation and stuff like that, and she was getting the help that she needed. But what really turned it around, she hung out
with the wrong people.
Yeah, she got back with a person from years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's why she ended up in there.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, that was crazy.
So since how long she's been out now?
About 2.5 years, I want to say.
So when she first
came, it just made 2 years. February. It's February.
2 years?
2 years. Yeah.
Okay. So what was it like? Did you all go to pick her up?
Yeah, so over the years, like I never put money on the phone when my mom was in jail. Her boyfriend, which is a guy who's always been around since we were younger.
Not the guy.
No,
Somebody
not my
else.
godfather. Yeah, somebody else. My mom had men.
Okay.
She had different men.
Okay, right.
But he will always put money on the phone because I refuse to. I'm not, for what? Like,
okay.
You come home, whenever that is. So he would always put money on the phone, and, you know, then I'll talk to her and stuff. And every now and then when my sister would go to see her, or he would go to see her, sometimes I would go, sometimes I wouldn't. She was like 3-4 hours away. So it's just like, I don't care about the ride, but it's just like, I don't care too much to come see you. Because once again, like, you're not really my mom. You know, I call you my mom, but you're not.
Right.
But, yeah, so
I was watching Anyanya Fix My Life, and the girl who was also felt she was neglected too. She called her carrier.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's a good
I was
one.
like, right, her carrier. I'm like, okay.
I gotta use that one.
Right.
No,
Right.
But yeah. So when she came home, you know, we did go to pick her up.
Okay.
We had everything for her, and it was all.
So how was that interaction?
I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was like, hey, you coming home? Like,
Okay.
hopefully we can start something new. But it was
she
like,
receptive to that?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my mom is the sweetest person.
Okay.
She really is the sweetest person.
Okay.
I've never met someone so sweet like
Okay.
her. But she does, you know, she has her ways and stuff, and she gets all in her ways.
Okay.
So, but once again, like, my oldest sister always takes up for her. So she hypes everything up. She amps us up, and she tries to get us to treat her like our mother and stuff. And it's like, how? Like, you don't know what it feels like to be us.
Right.
So.
Right, yeah. So since she's been home for the 2 years, and have she's gone back at all, even for a little domestic, little small?
No,
little
so she was put
okay.
on probation when
Okay.
she got caught. They wanted to, I think, send her back into a jail or something, but she was put on probation for whatever reason. My mom is a huge liar, so we all get different stories.
Really?
All I know, she was just on probation for like a year.
Okay.
Yeah, she was on house arrest and stuff.
So where is
like
she
that.
now?
She's still like in the apartment that I got her.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we live like 10 minutes away from each other.
Okay.
And recently I wasn't talking to her just because I had personally a lot of stuff going on. And it's like every time I talk to her, it's always, oh, she's broken, oh, this and oh, that. And it's like, I have my own issues.
She's saying about that, about you?
Well, with herself, oh, she's
Okay.
broken, this and that. And it's like, why does every time I talk to you, it's always something negative? It's always something like, you know, like, how come we can't have a decent conversation?
Right.
You know, and it's always, oh, you don't do this, and everybody else does everything. And they don't do everything. It's just you. She always singles me out. For whatever reason, I don't know. It's a favoritism thing.
Have you ever asked her?
No, because she's very in denial about it.
Okay.
I've kind of slightly said it, and my sister kind of slightly said it, but I'm at the point where I don't care.
So where's your dad now?
I don't know. You know what? That's my life goal, to figure out where he's at.
When was the last time you had a conversation with him?
I was young. I mean, I was a baby, so I never
okay.
really had like a
Okay.
real conversation with him, other than Goo Goo Gaga.
Right.
Yeah.
So you haven't looked him up or anything?
I have.
What about his family, sisters?
So I don't know any one of them.
Oh, wow.
My mom doesn't know any one of them. All I know is his name and stuff. I know
Okay.
where he used to work. He's Greek, so when he came here to America, he kind of shortened his name. So like I right now, my company that I work with, they're all Greek people, so they've helped me and tried to look up stuff.
Okay.
And we can't find anything. So it's funny because I want to go to Greece.
Yeah.
I was gonna go this year, but I'm gonna go next year. And you know, I want to find out. I really want to find out because, and I've always said that's my life goal. That's my life goal. So I'll let you know when I find.
It's to find your father.
Yeah.
Yes. That'd be awesome.
Just to ask, like,
What about his? You said he has children though, right?
yeah, I don't know anyone.
I don't know anyone.
They didn't come around and stuff like that. And one thing I would always say, like, we lived in the same house all of our lives. We still have the house to this day. We still have the same telephone number to this day.
Okay.
How come he hasn't come? How, you know, does he even want to try to find us? And
So who's in the house now?
my aunt. My
Okay,
aunt,
still living there, okay.
So I was
Okay.
staying there for a while, and last winter I moved back to help her because she wasn't working and stuff, and then I just couldn't do it. I need my own space. But
Okay.
yeah, we still have the house, and you know, it's like, how come you haven't tried to ring the doorbell? How come you haven't tried to write a note or a letter or something? You know, so it's like, do you care?
Right.
So
let me ask you something. Have your mother ever apologized for being neglectful to you and your other siblings, or does she not acknowledge?
she doesn't acknowledge it.
Okay.
She really doesn't. She feels like sometimes I get the impression that she thinks that everything she did was okay. And it just, it is what it is. So, and it's like sometimes when we try to have conversations with her about, you know, the past and growing up, she does not, like, she always gets so, like, worked up and then starts cussing us out and all this other stuff. Oh, yeah, she can go
verbally abusive.
Oh, yeah, she can go from 0 to 100 really, really quick. And I'm the type of person that I'm not going to deal with that. Like, not from her. I deal with it from other people, which is sad, but it's just like when it comes to her, I don't let anything fly. Because
so what do you do at that moment? You just leave, or do you
I just leave? I put my wall back up and I just shut it down.
Did she come back and apologize for that?
Oh no, I've never heard my mom apologize to anything. Oh yeah, like I'll never forget. My sister was staying with her because my sister's boyfriend got her evicted from her place, and we all lived like literally on the same block.
Okay.
So wow. So my sister was staying with my mom, and they got into a huge fight. And my sister and my mom, they bump heads a lot. Okay. But my mom always plays favoritism when it comes to her. Like, she does everything and anything, you know, as if she didn't do anything. Okay. And they got into a huge fight, and it was my mom just started a big commotion over nothing, just to have something to say, because she didn't like the fact that my sister and I was hanging out and actually enjoying ourselves together. You know, some people don't like to see other people happy, you know? Right. So she just started a whole big commotion, and they're calling each other bees and this and that in each other's face, and then my mom started cussing me out for being there, and when I was trying to, you know, calm the commotion. Come at me. And I'm just like, you know what? So I was living upstairs then. So I went upstairs to my own place, and I was like, whatever. And then my oldest sister, of course, came running over there, like trying to diffuse the situation. Of course, she was like, well, you need to stop acting like this. And I was like, I didn't do anything. Okay. I didn't do anything. You need to stop taking up for them. Because I didn't do anything. All I did was try to calm the situation down.
Right. So what's like for like holidays and...
Oh, we don't spend holidays.
Really?
So ever since my grandma passed away, holidays are like nothing. Like we don't do it. They're like other days. Now my mom, like I said, my mom's the sweetest person. So at times she does want to get the family together and stuff. So she does cook and invites us over. Okay. And I do make it my job most of the time to try to stop by for a little bit. But I go to my in-laws' house every holiday. Okay. So, because that's family. You know, that's my family. So, yeah.
So what is your plan like... like, what can you do, like, now? Like, can you, like, schedule it? Mother's Day is coming up in May. Can it be a time?
No. She don't get anything for Mother's Day.
Not even a conversation.
Well, I told her. No, I mean, I talked to her. I just talked to her. That's who I was on the phone with before I came in. And I told her I'll help her file her taxes. Because once again, I still have a heart. And I'm like, my oldest sister still pushes, like, you need to stop being mean and you need this. And it's like, okay, when she's not acting crazy, then I'll be there. But when she start acting crazy, all right, I'm going to give her some space. Right. And that's my whole thing. And if I'm wrong for it, I'm wrong. But that's just how I feel, you know, I'm going to do. But, you know, I still talk to her, and, you know, I did tell her, you know, I got a new job, you know, I'm making way more money. Let's go out. I did tell her, let's go out. I'll pay for it. Let's have some drinks. Because, you know, when we hang out and she's fine, you know, we have fun. Good. But it's like it never lasts too long.
Okay. She's going back to her old self.
Yeah. And it's always complaining and this and that. And it's just like, I understand. We all got problems. But it's like every single time I see you, I don't want to hear this. Okay. Like, I don't. Right. And I tell her, it's just like this and that. And it's like, you have men providing for you. You live in life. You know?
Oh, is she?
Yeah, I mean, she has, her boyfriend provides for her and does everything. So it's like, what does you complain? But what it is she's still stuck in some of her old ways. So being a drug addict, she always needs money. And she's money hungry. Okay. And it's like, okay, relax.
So you mentioned before your mom have never apologized. Have you, like, forgiven her?
Forgive and forget. Or forgive and don't forget. Okay. That's how I see it. I'm gonna say I forgive her, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna forget what you've done.
Was she a young parent?
Not with us. No.
Okay.
Not with my sister and I. With my oldest sister, I want to say she was 17. Okay. Maybe 16, 17. I don't know, but we're 20 years apart. So my mom had us 20s, 30s, or something. Okay. But yeah, you know, forgive but don't forget. So I'll say I forgive you. Right. I think I forgive you, because at the end of the day, I can't go back in the past. I can't, you know, help you fix.
Move forward.
Yeah. Right. So you have to move forward, but I'm not going to forget what you've done. you know, and we've had situations since she's been home that's just like out of mind, out of pocket. Like, why would you even, like, you know, for my birthday, like a few years ago, I think I had turned 19 or 20, I think. I ran into her boyfriend at the cemetery. And he's a liar and stuff like that. And they got into it earlier that day. And I was like, oh yeah, I saw Chuck at the cemetery. And she was just like, you effing my man and this and that. And I was like, what?
Where'd that come from?
Exactly.
Right.
Like, and she's like, that's why because earlier that day she was so upset because it was a beautiful day. It was in November. It was a beautiful day for November. And, you know, she was so upset because they had a whole day planned and it didn't go out. And I was like, you know, it's a beautiful day. Don't let this man ruin your day. And I told her I was going to the cemetery and stuff like that. And
to see your grandmother, obviously, right? Okay.
To see I have 3 people there.
Okay.
So my nephew, my uncle, and my grandma.
Okay.
So, you know, I was like, I'm going to the cemetery. And then just so happened, I ran into him. And it was funny because she had told me earlier that day they were going to go.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going too. And he still ended up going. And my mom was at home. And I don't remember if I told her I just saw him or he said he had saw me.
Okay.
But somehow we were on the phone and she's like, you effing my man. And that's why you told me to calm down. And I was like, what? Right. And then I had told my oldest sister, like, I had sent her all the text messages. Like, my mom was going on and on and on for hours, just like totally like calling me all out my name and like treating me like just anybody in the street. Right. And my oldest sister didn't do anything. She just laughed. And it's just like, you supposed to put her in check. Like, why would she ever say this?
Right. Right.
So that's the situation that I'll never let go. I don't bring it up or anything or try to let it faze me, but I'll never forget that because that's disrespectful.
So you all never revisit that conversation at all?
No. Like, it came up, I think, like a few months after that a little bit, but to now, no. Because I feel like if I bring it up, I'm going to really go off on you. And I'm not a disrespectful person. Yes. And I know you're my adult and stuff like that. And growing up, I mean, we all curse. I have a really bad cursing problem. So us cursing and talking and stuff, that's nothing.
Okay.
You know, that's normal for us. But if I was to get disrespectful, it's going to be crazy. But I'm not going to do it because you're family and you're older than me. It's just out of respect. You know, I'm not disrespectful to anyone, even friends, people my age. You know, that's just not who I am. So. Okay. But my sister, she could get disrespectful, but I don't have it in me, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I really hope things work out with you.
Yeah, it will.
And your mom, you know, and hopefully you'll find your dad somewhere.
Yeah, one day. Catch me on a Find Your Daddy show.
Right. So I wish you guys the best. I want to thank you so much for being on my show today.
Of course.
We got to end it with a cocktail.
Ooh.
So. Again, thank you again for being another segment of Cocktails on the Couch. Thank you guys for joining me today on Cocktails on the Couch with my guest, Brittany Ivy. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right.